and eventually worked with AI to develop a couch that meets all of today's challenges. First, this is a puppy by Arne, very cute and ironic piece that comes in 5 different sizes. And while Fritz Hansen does not limit himself to his former merits and continues to collaborate with contemporary authors as well. Here are the chairs that... Hello friends! Denmark's contribution to the world's design industry is hard to overestimate. We all know Danish brands and Danish designers. It's really a very interesting culture with a very interesting approach. And I thought that we paid very little attention to it on our channel. Well, we're making up for it. And today will be a report about the 3 days of design that have taken place in Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark. The festival takes place in different venues, in different neighborhoods, creative spaces and showrooms. And it is quite logical that we start our report at the Danish Architectural Center. It is logical because in 2023 UNESCO declared Copenhagen the capital of world architecture, and the Danish Architecture Center is also one of the venues of this festival. A very important point is that I was here at the invitation of the Italian company Magis, who informed me that they will take part in this festival. And I thought it is a great opportunity to get to know myself and to show you a little bit more about Danish design. So, there are several exhibitions here, which you could say warm us up before introducing us to more about contemporary Danish design. First of all, this is the So Danish exposition, which tells about the history of Danish architecture starting literally from Viking times to the present day. These are some traditional buildings, imperial buildings, there are really a lot of them here, and there are a lot of palaces and various churches in Copenhagen. And they are distinctive. Next, we move on to the design and architecture of the 20th century. Here we should mention the famous SAS Hotel, which was designed by Arne Aksel, literally from the building to the last spoon and fork. All the details were invented by him, and it is truly a unique project. We move on to modernity. That is wooden house building in its modern incarnation. For example, there is a 20-story, you could say, skyscraper built entirely of wood. Then we move on to the exhibition which highlights the present in design and architecture in Denmark. Of course, the architecture of today meets the challenges of today. Denmark is a very socially oriented country, so the focus here is on social housing. It must also be decent for normal human life. A Bjarke Ingels designed modular residential complex in a northwest district is an illustration of this. This residential complex can be practically built up to infinity, while the volume of space in this complex is quite comfortable, and in some blocks the ceiling height reaches 3.5 meters, which is an attribute of already quite luxurious housing. A very interesting project was also developed for students. It is also a modular technology, but with the use of sea containers. There is such a residential complex here too. The problem today in Copenhagen is the limited accessibility of water spaces. The canal is a place of recreation for citizens. On the other hand, the construction of luxury apartments and residential complexes on its banks makes access difficult. And a rather interesting solution was proposed: to create floating mini islands, which the citizens can use for recreation. You just need to sail up on the boat and have a great time there. As for public spaces, there is a certain focus here too. For example, Ophelia Square at the Royal Theatre House is also designed to solve the problem of recreation for citizens. It didn't appear right away, a little later. It became a place of attraction, and of course there are a lot of beach clubs there now, and events are held there. In general, it's really a nice place, again with a view of the water and the opposite shore. When it comes to object design, As always in Scandinavia, there is a strong emphasis on recycling existing products. The organizers ask the question, what is trash? In fact, there may be no trash at all, and it's all source material for some new items. For example, old loading carts can be recycled into stool bases, and scaffolding elements can be turned into storage shelves, and if not in the residential interior, then at least for some household rooms it can be quite suitable. The Space 10 showroom is located in a rather textured neighborhood, the Meatpacking district, which is basically Vesterbro. It's the former western edge of Copenhagen, where all the slaughterhouses were moved to and where, from the name, the meat was cut. This was done in order to avoid epidemics, and later this area turned into a rather disturbing place, although there's certainly character here. Here in Space 10, the guys prepared a project called Design in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. We encountered artificial intelligence with the launch of ChatGPT, which took place in November 2022, and this story has already made a lot of noise. But most importantly, it gave an opportunity to touch artificial intelligence to the masses. And so the guys organized a competition to design ideas that use this very artificial intelligence, selected 4 winners and presented them here. And really, the ideas are quite interesting. In my opinion, they answer the question, will AI take away our jobs? No, it will not, because without humans as operators of artificial intelligence, nothing will work. A very interesting future classics project. With the help of AI and the processing of images from the IKEA catalog of 1970, it is proposed to create new classic items for the IKEA catalog of 2023. A very interesting project called Local Product. The idea is that ChatGPT was asked what kind of garbage prevails in certain locations and proposed to make place from this garbage. Now we are faced with the fact that wherever we go, most of the time the tableware is the same. There are international brands that are considered prestigious, and of course, prestigious restaurants all over the world use the same, albeit expensive, tableware. And here you can see prototypes of plates made from recycled local trash. Obviously, in Rome it's a marble plate, in Mendoza it's a plate made from recycled bottle glass. Here's what I was interested in. It's a dish made from the remains of a tannery in Yekaterinburg. I didn't know that Yekaterinburg was the center of leather production, and in principle it's obvious, but nevertheless it looks quite nice, the tableware from the remains of amber processing in Kaliningrad. And another project that is really great is the redesign of the couch. The design duo started creating queries for AI. Let's come up with a new couch design. Obviously, they started to get the same rather large and not very comfortable and sustainable items. Nevertheless, they got their way by modifying these requests and eventually worked with AI to develop a couch that meets all of today's challenges. First, it is a modular couch that can be used quite flexibly in any space. Secondly, it's a couch that weighs only 10 kilograms and uses recyclable materials to create it. And of course, the packaging is amazing. You can put as many as 20 of these huge couches on one pallet. And when you bring it at home, you can assemble it very easily because no screws or special tools are required. In general, it was really possible to get something useful from artificial intelligence in terms of interior design. Magis is presenting its new products at this festival in the Arne Aksel showroom. Arne Aksel is, you could say, the main curtain dealer in Copenhagen, which means it is the best showroom where you can order textile window decor. But why here? There is a certain logic to it, because, of course, interior fabrics are not only used for decoration, not only for curtains, but also for upholstery. And Magis, in turn, uses fabrics from the famous Danish brand Kvadrat. And here, in fact, some items are presented in these fabrics. and finally entered the series this year is a Riace sofa. Riace is the name of the commune in the south of Italy, not far from the coast, where an amateur diver from Rome found two ancient Greek sculptures of warriors. These warriors inspired the burlesque duo to create this sofa. Here, the two warriors are personified in the form of legs and armrests made of white bronze. The sofa has a curved shape and an impressive length of 3.6 meters. This item would be suitable for a luxurious living room, the lobby of an office, or maybe a good hotel. Another novelty from last year that received an update this year is the custom sofa system, which was designed by Stefan Ditz, a designer from Munich. The peculiarity of this system is its modularity. One model is 84 by 84 centimeters and can be both a poof and an element with a backrest. Accordingly, you can make your own combination, and you can combine not only the models but also the upholstery, and you can use contrasting connectors, which are a feature of this collection. Additionally, very nice and well-known pieces that have received an update this year in terms of finishes complement the Sofa Island composition, which is the highlight of this season. This is a puppy by Arne, very cute and ironic piece that comes in 5 different sizes and will add certain stories to any interior, while the flocked finish accents the most important parts. The light feature here is the lost fixtures from Traverso Bruliato design, introduced last year. Indeed, these cylinders are literally lost in space due to the very unusual solution of a light source arrangement. Bouquet portable table lamps from the same duo also have a light source, which is a vase and the lamp in one. One of these vases is placed on the big wheel table, designed by Philip Starr. In this case, the table is presented in minimalist version, completely black. A black base made in aluminum, a black tabletop made of thin porcelain stoneware, and black rubber bands on the wheels. By the way, these rubber bands can be contrasting, and there are also certain accents. Finishes can be different, and there can be an extended version. For this purpose, the wheels will be convenient, and it is also possible to move the piece. This table is accompanied by chairs 1, designed by Konstantin Grcic, with whom the Magis brand has had a successful cooperation for a long time. In addition to chair 1, we can also find here the 3-legged chair, Aka, which was presented last year, also by Konstantin. Another novelty worth mentioning is the chair from the Officina collection designed by the same Burlek brothers, which was presented for the first time this year. The peculiarity of this model is that the metal structure has the effect of forging, in this case in a very interesting deep bronze shade. And of course, let's not forget that Magis has in its collection a huge number of items that have already become design classics. These are the Proust by Alessandro Mendini and the Nimrod armchairs by Mark Newson, one of the most expensive designers in the world, which, by the way, are also presented in quadrat fabrics, and a whole collection of plastic furniture that is perfect for outdoor use. Thomas Heatherwick's absolutely recognizable Span, Ron Arrett's cool armchairs, and Konstantin Grcic's luxurious Samsung. And this very poetic location is the former brewery of King Christian IV, now the Lapidarium Museum, which is a museum of stone art, ancient sculptures and architectural decorations. And here in this entourage is a presentation of novelties from various companies. First of all Danish, but not only. There are also other Scandinavian companies, as well as those from the Baltic states and a little bit from other European countries. And here you immediately understand, first of all, what Hügge is, what luxurious simplicity is, and what hidden luxury is, because there is a certain essence to it. High-quality, honest materials are exceptionally elaborated and at the same time simple in form and understandable in function. This applies to furniture, lamps and carpets as well. Carpets are popular in Scandinavia, but the patterns are very simple and the colors are muted. On the lamps too, you can see and realize the exact Scandinavian palette. They are neat and clear objects, as a rule with reflected light, very intelligent, not deliberate, not distracting attention, because the main thing in the dwelling is a human. By the way, as for the furniture, I made a discovery here. This is probably the first time I see decent high chairs for children, because even in luxury restaurants, these high chairs are usually shabby looking. Anyway, friends, there turn out to be normal human design solutions for this issue. Traditionally in Scandinavia, a lot of attention is paid to the acoustic comfort of all spaces, not just residential ones. And here too, there are a number of solutions that can be used even in the form of freestanding objects. And of course, all the principles of sustainable development, which are important for all Scandinavian countries, are also manifested here. This includes items made of recycled materials, of course the use of recyclable materials, and the delivery of the furniture in disassembled form, which means lower transportation costs and consequently a lower carbon footprint. This exposition is devoted to all these issues. It is called the DDcated Design Hub, and it is apparently dedicated to all challenges in the realization of modern interiors. The respected Danish brand Fritz Hansen has chosen the Copenhagen Academy of Fine Arts to present its novelties and design classics. This has a certain logic too, because this is where many of Denmark's famous designers and artists graduated from. In a series of installations under the general title Expressions of Character, Fritz Hansen shows his character. First of all, Fritz Hansen's name is associated with the designer and architect Arne Aksel. It was they who made those famous chairs and armchairs for the SAS Hotel. His other works are shown here in deconstructed form to demonstrate the approach used by the author and peculiarities of Danish design. Naturally, the drop chair and the swan and egg armchairs are also featured here. Fritz Hansen does not limit himself to his former merits and continues to collaborate with contemporary authors as well. Here are the chairs that Jaime Ayon and Sebastian Herkne created, and Bjarke Ingels, a contemporary Danish author, is also present. As for Arne Aksel, his collection is not static. It is evolving, and this year, for example, the famous armchair was presented in fabric upholstery. Before, they were made only of bent plywood. Hansen also responds to modern trends. Here, in the courtyard of the Academy of Fine Arts, a large collection for outdoor spaces is presented, naturally with a certain Danish character. Another luxurious pop-up location is Oddfellow Palettes, which is the palace where some events are usually held. During the 3 design days, there is a design event here. There's such an international assemblage represented here on 3 floors. There are companies from Germany, Spain, the UK, the Netherlands, and so on. I found a few items that interested me that I hadn't come across before. This is a British company. It is not often to meet a British design company that represents both upholstered furniture and other elements of the interior. That is, small tables, dressers, etc. Everything is done quite well. That is, the elaboration of details is perfect and the quality is exceptional. I really like the sofa with such buttresses. You don't often meet such a story. Everyone is used to the fact that the sofa is placed in the middle, not against the wall, so it should look beautiful from the other side. But to make it look especially expressive from the backside, this is such a good example. Unfortunately, the boucle epidemic has hit the British Isles as well, so it's not without it here either. I must say that in Scandinavian countries, for some reason, they are very fond of cement tiles. In most countries, the fashion for them has passed, but here they are still in demand and are used in interiors. Not bad ideas from the German company with such wavy wood as a screen and as a pedestal for a large dining table. I like this matte finish when it seems that the wood is not finished at all. And of course, outdoor is here too, presented both outdoors and indoors. There are mostly Spanish companies, and among the Italian ones, of course I would mention the participation of Poltrona Frau, a respected manufacturer from Italy. We regularly review their showroom in Milan. Here is the joint collection of Poltrona Frau and Ceccotti. Here is an armchair designed by Joe Ponti with the original upholstery pattern. If you want to learn more, you can see our report from Milan at the link in the description. Naturally, such an institution as the Design Museum could not stay away from the design days taking place in Copenhagen. And here in the courtyard they arranged an exposition of furniture which is included in the so-called circular economy. Each company in its own way tries to take part in this concept. Someone produces chair pads from the leather scraps from sofa production, someone uses textile scraps to produce textile decorative products, someone is proud that his furniture can be dismantled and each part can be repaired separately. In general, there is a lot devoted to recycling. For example, plastic bottles are offered to be recycled into flower pots. Packaging boxes and all furniture fronts removed during renovation are reused. This is actually a practice widely used in Europe and America when a kitchen is not renovated in its entirety, but the old fronts are removed and new ones are hung. In order not to throw away the old ones, they are offered to be used as a material for new furniture. In general, traditionally, there has been a strong focus on recycling, reuse and the very economical use of mostly local materials. Everything presented here is produced in Denmark, which means that no truck energy is used to transport the material and no additional carbon footprint is created. As for recycling, I read recently that there are big questions about recycled plastic, that it is even more difficult to recycle than the original one. And yet there is a company here that claims that their recycled plastic products can be easily recycled again. But the question arises, will this recycling cause damage to nature? If you think that Danish design or Scandinavian design in general is always something white, grey, pastel or blue, it is not so, or rather there are two approaches. There are quite delicate solutions and there are quite bright, life-affirming color schemes. But the truth is, in this case, the form is extremely simple. Colorful solutions allow you to update quickly enough, because it will be not difficult to repaint such simple furniture. Although the colors are really trendy: pink, yellow, sky blue and of course terracotta. They are beautiful, and for a children's room in particular, they will be suitable. At the end of our review, I would like to say that Danish design is not necessarily something elitist, inaccessible or insanely expensive. There are absolutely different brands. And here, all the same, the main characteristics of Danish design is not the price, but the goodness and certain philosophy of using honest natural materials, recyclability and causing the minimum damage to environment in order to create those little moments of enjoyment in the home. That is the Hügge. By the way, I've just visited a showroom that represents such items, and this brand is relatively inexpensive. Of course, it is almost impossible to visit all the showrooms in one day, and even if I spend all 3 days looking for design, it would be unrealistic. But nevertheless, I chose what I found most interesting, and I hope that you were also interested. If so, comment something nice, share this video with your friends, let more people learn about the phenomenon of Danish, or if you want in broader sense of Scandinavian design. Don't forget to subscribe. That's all for now. Bye.